In this video, we're going to take a look at naming points, lines, planes, and angles. First, let's take a look at some vocabulary we're going to need in order to name points, lines, planes, and angles. The first of which is a line segment. Line segments are parts of a line that have a starting point and an ending point. The name is written with the 2 points and a line segment on top. So to give you an example of a line segment, let's take a look at line segment AB. Now notice there'll be a starting point and an ending point. The points will be labeled with letters, in this case AB. That is line segment AB. If you were to name line segment AB, you would just go AB with a line segment on top. A ray has a starting point, but it goes on forever in one direction. The name is written with 2 points, just like a line segment, but the exception is there's going to be an arrow on top going in the same direction as a ray. So for example, if I had ray AB, notice there would be an arrow going in the direction from A to B. We would write ray AB as AB with an arrow going in one direction, showing us we're starting at A and going in the direction of B. Now we could write a different ray. We could also write ray BA. Ray BA would start at B and go in the direction of A. In this case, looking at our diagram to the left, we'd start at B and we would go in the direction of A. That would be ray BA. A line has no starting point or ending point, and it goes on forever in both directions. The name is written with 2 points, just like a line segment or ray, but the exception is there's going to be an arrow going in both directions on top. Or you could name a line with one italicized letter next to the line. Let's go ahead and draw a line. So here I have a line, and on that line we're going to have a couple points. Let's say the points are A and B again. We could name that line saying that line is line AB. We would signify the line with the name AB with a line on top and arrows going in both directions. Now we could also name that line if there were an italicized letter off to one of the ends of the line. For example, if that line had an italicized N, we could also say that that line is line N. So there you go, we've named and labeled line segments, rays, and lines. Let's take a look at our remaining vocabulary. Sometimes we'll use the words lie on a line to indicate that a point is on a line. And the words specifically are lie on a line. So for example, if we had line, suppose we had line FG, and that's supposed to be a straight line. So we have line FG. We could say that both F and G lie on the line. Collinear basically means the same thing. It's when more than one point are on the same line. So we could have 8, G, H, and J. In this case, all of those points, since they are all on the same line, or they all lie on the same line, we could say F, H, G, and J are all collinear. They're called collinear because they lie on the same line. Now we've looked at points on a line, we've looked at lines, rays, and line segments. Now let's take a look at a two-dimensional figure. A two-dimensional figure is a plane. It's a flat surface that goes on forever in all directions. Now we can't really represent that well on a sheet of paper. So the way we typically represent rays is with a parallelogram. And it's assumed if you're given a parallelogram and you're naming it as a plane that it goes on forever in all directions. So here's our parallelogram, and we're going to say that's a plane, it's a flat surface, goes on forever in all directions. And in order to name a parallelogram, you have to have 3 points that aren't all on the same line. So for example, if I had point A, point B, and point C, I could name that plane as plane ABC. However, if I had another point, let's suppose that's point D, and they were all on the same line, I could not name that plane as ADB because all 3 points are on the same line. So again, the 3 points cannot lie on the same line. Now, just like we named lines, if there is an italicized letter in the corner of that plane, then you can also name the plane with the italicized letters on that corner. So for example, if I had the letter M in the upper left hand corner of that plane, I could name that plane plane M. Coplanar. When 2 or more points or lines are on the same plane, they're said to be coplanar. So in this case, A, B, C, and D are all coplanar because they all lie on the same plane.